So what is pregnancy and preparation all about?
Pregnancy and preparation started as a sort of embryo about 8 years ago after a guy came to me with migraines. And when I asked him how his migraines affected him, I was expecting an answer like, I get pain in my head or my vision's affected. And he said, well, yes, I do shout at my wife and I get niggly with my 2 boys. And I was like, wow, that's not what I was really after, but I can see how this problem or dis-ease that you're having in your body is having quite an impact. And for some reason I had this vision of these ripples coming out from this guy, for example, going to his wife and 2 boys, and then what happens when she goes to work and affects the people at her work because she's in a bad mood from it, etc., or the 2 boys at school. And I started to inquire into what it would take with my people to actually create a ripple of health instead of having this ripple of disease. Because I thought at first, as a practitioner, I was just dealing excuse me, with this person on the couch, and then I realized there was a far bigger social implication here. Because if somebody's got back pain or migraines or they've got asthma, you've got parents waiting up all night wondering whether their kid's going to make it through the night because they're having an asthma attack. Yeah. And how does that then affect their business, and then how does it affect their client that's just come into the business? So it's really important that that work gets done for the day. So I started to realize, wow, this is quite a huge impact, and if we can swap this ripple of disease around and make it into a ripple of health, what impact can we make on society? And when I started to look at it, I took on a business coach for a year. And I got her to just ask me every day, what is it that I'm trying to do with my business? And then what is it that people are coming in the door with? And I started to really understand what my clients were after. And I realized it wasn't about what I was doing on the couch, it was what I was doing outside of the treatment room. So for example, if they started to improve their diet, if they started to look at their stress and what that was about and start to actually deal with that properly, not just have some quick fix like a couple of drinks of wine at the end of the night, which as all my mates will tell you, I don't mind a glass of wine at the end of the day either, but it's not a way of dealing with the stress. So I started to just go back into my books around physiology and how the body worked, and starting to look at the emotional side, the nutritional side, and the structural side of the body, and how that implicates dis-ease, etc. And over the years I started meeting some really great people. There's Janie Holiday from Fit for a Princess, Patrick Hauser from Fathers to Be, his partner Binny Danst, who's got ecstatic birth. One of my inspirations is actually Christine Grabowska. She's a midwife and she teaches at Thames Valley University, and I can honestly say I've never met a midwife that's got more information. She's just phenomenal. Mariana Vanska, an antenatal teacher who's so passionate about what she does with these people, and these people are out there making a real difference to the world. And what I wanted to do was just bring them all together and start to create some value for these people, these mums and dads to be's, because I realise it's not just about the mum, and we tend to focus a lot on the mum. What about the dads? The stuff Patrick Hauser's doing with dads, just absolutely phenomenal. So what if I could be the enzyme, if you like, or start to get these people together and bring all the resources in some sort of form. I'm doing something with somebody from UNICEF, a woman called Anne Strong, and we're doing breastfeeding. It's not rocket science, and we're trying to just bring it back to what life's about, because pregnancy is something we've been doing for many years. It's not a new science, and we try to make everything fancy every year. Technology goes on, and so we have to keep up with technology, but actually being a human is a very simple principle-based phenomenon. And if we can get back to helping people understand their body a little better, if we can bring health into that home, because I've watched families, and I had a great example of a woman who came to me one day with raging back pain. She had migraines, postnatal depression, she was having irritable bowel syndrome at the same time. She was literally falling apart, and her little boy, who was a few months old, had been screaming 23 hours a day. They'd been to A&E 18 times and said there was nothing wrong with him. And when I went through the case history, I realized that she was the symptom and the little boy was the cause. And I said, I don't need to see you, I need to see him. And when we finally got him on track and he started to sleep, everything started to lift from her. So she was the manifestation of this dis-ease within this little boy. And you can imagine a mum who hasn't slept for 3 or 4 months. I mean, I would be at the end of my tether too. So, you know, it wasn't any weakness in her or any problem with her coping mechanisms, but you cannot not sleep for 3 months and be healthy. It's impossible. And what had happened was their marriage started to get obviously strained from it. Then the mother-in-law was coming in giving her 5 cents worth, and so that was causing even more friction. And the wheels were falling off that family unit. And I started to realize, you know, these sleepless nights and any challenges that we have around parenting, and I don't know any parent out there who hasn't had some sort of challenge, whether it's a sleepless night or a baby. You know, our little boy had croup just recently, and for 3 days I didn't sleep well. You know, I was treating him osteopathically in the middle of the night, and he would respond for about 2 or 3 hours, and then he'd be back to square one. And I was like, you know, when it's a digestive problem or a skin problem, although you're worried, you're not really in the same boat as a child who's not breathing properly. I mean, this little guy's chest was going right down, and I was genuinely concerned. And Mum even left the house at one point to go to A&E, and she only got 5 minutes down the road, and his breathing got a lot better. It wasn't back to normal, but it was a lot better. So we came back and we started to cope with it again. And in the end, we used some homeopathics. And the next morning he turned around after day 3, and he was much better. And you know, we could have hit the panic button, gone for the antibiotics, disrupted his gut, and done all that sort of stuff. And I wouldn't suggest to, you know, mums and dads at home, oh no, just sit it out, because obviously we have some background. Mum's an osteopath and naturopath as well, so we have some background around looking after children and understanding the body. But it's a tricky time. You know, we were also a little bit tense with each other at times. You know, should we do this? Should we do that? Because we're both osteopaths and naturopaths. It was like, well, I think you should go down this path, and she was like, oh, I'm not sure about that. So, you know, the stresses and strains of parenting, it's got its wonderful side. You know, it's got its absolute magic, and you ask any parent about those, they are just unbelievable moments. And there's the other side of the coin, and it's in here that you really start to get tested. And so pregnancy and preparation, in essence, is about helping set a really great foundation and creating an environment in your health and your relationship and your body for health and for a ripple of health within that family unit. So yeah, that's what pregnancy and preparation is about.
Wow, it sounds like such a valuable resource. So congratulations on putting it together, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.